Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. And in today's video, I'm going to continue from yesterday's video and look at the Bitcoin price as it's been developing over the different time frames, as well as the indicators, and also giving you the swing trade levels that we've been looking at over the last many weeks. But before I begin, a little announcement. I won't be doing a video tomorrow. I'll be far too busy tomorrow to do it. And as usual, the disclaimer, please remember all my videos are for educational purposes only. Nothing should be taken as a signal to buy or sell or as financial advice. I'm not here to be right or wrong. I'm just here to share my knowledge and give you my perspective of what I see is happening in the charts. So please do your wider research before making any investment decisions. So with that out of the way, this is currently where we're at. This is the daily candle. Currently it looks like a gravestone doji candle, but we've got about 14 hours to go yet. But the current price is at 43,800. And if we put a diagonal trend line here, we can see that, as I've been showing you over the last many weeks, these trend lines are there just really for guidance. A lot of traders would start trading at this point here when the price protrudes the diagonal trend line. And as I've said many times, this is not really the appropriate time to trade. Yes, you can take a position here knowing what's going to happen over here, because breaking diagonal trend lines is really the first part of actually knowing the levels that we have along the way here, which are the horizontal support and resistance lines. And I've drawn these for you over the last many weeks now, that the main levels of support and resistance are these on the way down and the same ones on the way up. And in the previous videos, I said that once we break up here, the first point of resistance is going to be the $45,500 to $46,000 mark. And if we have a look closely here, the price came up to the $45,500 and it's now retreated back down, creating this current daily doji candle. Now in yesterday's video, I also gave you this neckline here, this green neckline, a signal that we may be forming a head and shoulders pattern here. And I said that at this point, we could form a right shoulder here. So this is the potential, and this is definitely on the table. And last night, the price was coming up to these levels here at the 44,500. And with the candles forming the way they were, it looked like that it might top out around here. And as sensible traders, we don't wait for this exact price of 45,500. If you're a trader, you'll know that this is the zone in which you start to dollar cost average if you're closing your positions on a swing trade, or if you're wanting to get into a trade, you dollar cost average into a trade. Around these levels, about 44,500, I started to take some profits off the table, and obviously I've now taken the rest of the profits at 45,500. So we've now met the first resistance point, and I'm going to show you where possibly the price could come down to. Obviously, the price can go above the 46, come back, test it as support, and then go much higher. Everything is possible with Bitcoin. We're not here to be right or wrong. We're just looking at the probabilities. Like I've said in many, many videos now, nothing is certain, nothing is guaranteed. If you're going to be an emotionally intelligent investor, you really have to get this concept of probabilities into your mind. In my experience, the stock market and the crypto market is all about possibilities and probabilities. It's really not a question of being right or wrong. If the price did go above the 46 today and then used it as support, then I would just jump back on board here. And all you would lose would be a little fee round here of the changeover. And then you ride it all the way up to the next level, which I've put in an extra level here at the 48,500 level mark. So let's see what happens, but we'll have a look at some of the prices that, if this has topped out, where it can come back down to. And certainly this inverted head and shoulders is definitely at play. As I showed you yesterday, if it does play out here, then the possible price target is around the $57,000 mark here. A quick look at the EMAs, the exponential moving averages, on the weekly chart on the various time frames. We can see that we've just come up above the 8 EMA, and if we can stay above that by the end of this current week, then we could use that as support to go much higher. But I think there's a lot of price action left this week in this candle. But certainly a reversal looks to have taken place here with this trend line being followed by this bullish harami candle, as I've mentioned to you many times in the previous videos. And what we've got here is what they call a morning star pattern on the candles. And this is a 3-candle pattern. And always remember, the 3-candle patterns are more powerful than 2-candle patterns, which are obviously more powerful than single candle patterns. And when you get this at the bottom of a trend, it usually means rocket fuel to go much higher. Obviously, we'll have pullbacks along the way. And if we have a look at the daily chart, we can see that the same EMAs, the 8, 21 and the 34, the green is the 8, yellow is the 21 and the white is the 34. And for the first time along here, we can see that the price action has gone above and closed above all 3 of them since the $69,000 mark here, which is obviously very bullish. But as we know, whenever the price action goes too far away from the averages, it has a habit of pulling back down and retesting them. So I am expecting somewhere around these levels, around the 45.5, to have a pullback back to the averages again here. And they're around about the $41,000 mark. And if we have a look at the RSI, we can see quite clearly that it looks overbought. And on the 4-hourly chart, we can see that price is just coming down to test the 8 EMA here. Should we break this, which I'm expecting it to, then the next level would be around 42,400 here, and the final support level here is 41,400. And that would tally with the futures gap on the CME futures market over here. And once again, on the 4-hourly chart, the RSI seems overbought. And this level here is exactly at 40,935. So it may well be that the price comes back down to retest this level here to fill the gap before moving on. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it has a habit of happening. Let me show you something very interesting. On the daily chart, when we were coming from this June-July low down here, we created this gap on the CME futures market. So the market at that time went all the way up and then came all the way down. And guess where it came down to? Exactly to fill this gap here. If you don't think they're important, there seems to be a canny coincidence that they do tend to get filled. And in my experience, not all of them get filled, because there are some gaps at the $9,500 mark and $11,000 and many others along the way. Certainly, the majority of them do get filled. So it does look entirely possible that the current price action here, having met the 45,500 very strong resistant point, it would seem natural for the price move to come back down to fill this gap at exactly the 40,900 level. Maybe it'll go beyond that. Nobody knows the future. I don't even know what I'm going to have for lunch. But I can only look at what the charts are saying and then express that perspective to you. And finally, on the 1-hour chart, you can see that we've formed a gravestone doji at the top of this trend here. And as I've mentioned many times, it has an 80% probability to push the price down. And as we've seen here, the price is now starting to cascade down here. And the question is, how far will it come down? But it's quite clear that we've gone below the 8 EMA, we found support temporarily on it, and now broken that, and now finding support on the 34 EMA. Another candle pattern that you can see here, I've mentioned it a few times, is that at the top of a trend, when you get a solid big green candle followed by a small red candle, or whatever the color is, it doesn't really matter, but it's a small bodied candle, then followed by a red candle to the downside here, of course. This pattern here is an evening star pattern. And as you can see here, an evening star is a stock price chart pattern used by technical analysts to detect when a trend is about to reverse. It is a bearish candlestick pattern consisting of 3 candles, a large white candlestick, which is green of course, a small bodied candle, and a red candle. So this is what we've got at the top of a trend. It's a classic bearish pattern before the price starts moving. Does it happen 100%? No. The price action is all about probabilities and possibilities. So the probability here is, and it seems to be playing out, at least in the short term, that we're on the way down. So what are the possible price levels that we can see this come back down to? For me, there are various price levels that it can come back down to. First of all, at the $42,300 mark, because as you can see, this was the flash crash level here, where it came down to. And then we mingled with this level here several times as support and resistance. So this is quite a logical place. The second level, obviously the lower one, is here at 40,000 because this is a key psychological level that we've had to deal with. And we've got the inverted head and shoulders level to create the second shoulder here. And the shoulder price will be anywhere from around here at about 41,000 down to the 40,000 where this wick touched here. So anywhere between 40 and 41.5. And as I've just shown you on the CME futures gap, I've put this dotted line here at the 40,935. So this is definitely very much a possibility of coming to fill that gap around these levels. So we'll just have to wait and see. Certainly, I'm expecting the price in this region and anywhere around this price level here, I will be dollar cost averaging back into my swing trades again. So I've taken my profits in this region here with a view to buying back down in this region here. So these are my next swing trade levels. Please remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not expecting anybody else to follow what I'm doing. I'm just telling you what I'm doing and my perspective. I'm not a financial advisor. So please do your wider research before you do anything. Okay, so we'll leave it there. Thank you once again for watching. Very much appreciated. And if you found value in this video, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. And if you've got any comments, questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Please remember, no video tomorrow, back on Thursday.